All right, hello everybody. Today is our first segment on pre-Socratic philosophy, right? Pre-Socratic philosophers, and we're just going to outline the problems that the pre-Socratic philosophers were trying to address, right? And so, in our text, we see that just a little bit. Our goal here is to go just a little bit deeper, right? Okay, so what are the kinds of questions that these guys are trying to answer? Right? So these guys are pre-Socratic philosophers because they come before Socrates, right? And Socrates is around, I think, 400 BCE. And so these guys are like writing around 600 to about 500 BCE. So what are the kinds of questions that they're after? So, first of all, we have the problem of the one and the many, right? So, when we look around, right, I'm looking at my desk here, we see all kinds of different things, right? So, you see behind me, there's a piano. On the other side of me, there's like a rocking chair, right? Here's a mug and a pen, right? There's so many different objects, different kinds of things, right? So the world is the world made up of many things, right? Many kinds of things, or is the world just made up of one thing, right? So if the world is made up of many things, it seems like we can't know everything, right? It seems like we have to understand a bunch of different objects, right? And all of those objects are made out of different things. So for example, this mug is made out of a different stuff than this, right? This is made out of mug stuff and this is made out of pin stuff, right? Um, so if we think that everything is made out of something else and everything is all of the objects in the world are vastly different, we would say that the world is made up uh, uh, of many things, right? Whereas if we say that the world is made up of one thing, right, that makes the world vastly knowable, right? So maybe the pen and the mug are made out of the same stuff, right? And so the pen and the mug have some similar features because they're made out of the same stuff, right? So um, here are three proposed answers to this question, right? So is the world made out of many things, right? Or is the world composed of many things? Or is the world composed of just one thing? The answers include that we'll see from these pre-Socratic philosophers is that the universe is not in any sense one, right? So the idea here is that the everything that's in the world is vastly different, right? The world is only many. There's no unifying substance that makes all of the things similar to one another. So you have mugs and pins, and these two objects are not similar to one another at all. And that's the way that reality works. Everything that is, there's just many things. The other thing is, or another answer is that the world is not in any sense many, right? So we'll see in Parmenides that he thinks that there's only one substance or only one thing, right? So the pen and the mug are in no sense different from one another. They're not many, okay? And then we'll see other philosophers saying that the world is actually one sense one, or in some sense one, and in some sense many, right? So they want to say that, look, there's some, like there are many things, but there's something that unites all of these things, right? And so we'll see in Thales and Anaximenes, they will say that the world, or that all of the objects are made out of water or made out of air, right? So there are many different things, but they're all reducible to the same element. Okay, so the problem here of the one and the many is which answer is the correct one, A, B, or C? And if it is C, what explains, right, how we have many things and also one thing, right? So this is kind of one question that we're after. The other question is about change, right? So We talk about changing all the time, right? We look outside in the springtime, we see green trees or green leaves, and then we look outside in the autumn, and we're going to see red and brown and yellow leaves, right? So what explains? So we have the same leaf, and it's undergoing color changes and various chemical changes as well, right? Microscopic changes. Um, what explains how that change is occurring, right? And and so one of the things we can say about the leaf is that it's still the same leaf that's changing, right? And so what about a leaf that's brought into existence, right? So there was no leaf, and then there's a leaf. What explains how a new leaf is brought into existence, right? So that's one thing. So we might say that there's a law of change. So all change involves some subject that persists through the change, right? So the idea here is that if we have a leaf and the leaf is green, and then the leaf changes to red or brown, right? The leaf is persistent through that change, right? Take me, for example. I'm changing quite a lot, even right now. So here's me at one point in time. Here's me at another point in time with my arm raised. I've undergone, I'm undergoing changes, but we can still say that it's me kind of surviving these changes, right? Okay. So we might think that the problem is when there's a new thing that's brought into existence, right? A baby is born, a baby is conceived, however you would want to think about that. Um, uh, how is it that we have a new substance, a new thing that's brought into existence, right? Um, because we're saying that all change requires that there be a subject that persists through the change, but in some instances we have nothing, right? And then we have a something. So that is the primarily the concept of change, or the problem of change, that these pre-Socratic philosophers are going to try to answer. So today we've talked about two different problems that the pre-Socratic philosophers are trying to answer. The problem of the one and the many, right? Is the universe composed of many things, one thing, or both? And the problem of change. How is it that new things are created? And how can we make sense of change, the law of change, and how new things come into existence? Okay.